What is up, guys? Nolly here, and welcome to the Gage Weapon Pack number 2 Payday 2 update, releasing on Steam on January the 30th. And what day is it today? Oh, it's January the 30th. So within the next couple of hours for me, I'm going to go through literally everything we're seeing within this Payday 2 Overkill poster we've had up. I'm not entirely sure when this came up. I actually only found out about it last night. But let's just say I got some really promising developments. Obviously, Gage over here looking in the background. We are seeing all the good stuff that's about to be coming to us. Just a little note. I'm not entirely sure what happens if I click on this piece of paper, but clearly, I think I just might make it bigger. Yeah. Well, we'll read through that in a minute. I didn't realise I could actually interact with these things, but let's get a move on. Let's have a look at the post. Gentlemen, we have a situation here. It appears that the people in charge have finally taken notice of our little operation and decided to respond accordingly. We have reliable intel from several informants that, as of February, of course very soon, federal authorities have been given the go-ahead to use paramilitary units on US soil. Their purpose? To assist law enforcement agencies in combating organized crime networks. Well, gosh, I had no idea we were such a big deal. These units are really special, are real special forces guys, experts in infill/exfil, and they carry state-of-the-art weaponry and equipment. As Gage himself put it, they've crossed the fucking Rubicon. If they want a war, we'll give them a war. Only thing to do is meet them head on. Fight fire with fire? That's what I say. Not sure about the last one, but let's not push the particular point, eh? Check out the files on the wall and see for yourself. It looks like we're in for a dirty fight. So that seems like the perfect time to look on the wall. The cloaker has arrived. Now, just before we move on any further, like I said, available for Steam on the PC. It appears to be $4.99. I don't know if that's pounds or dollars. I think it was dollars last time, but could not say either way. Either way, a reasonably cheap DLC. So, here in the top left-hand picture, I don't know why it's loading so slowly, we have what seem to be the cloakers with those little spec ops eyes. Wouldn't surprise me if we see a mask very similar to that coming soon, available for us. Whether this means they're going to attack in pairs, I have no idea. We okay? We okay, website? Are we gonna... There we go. Let's have a look at this picture. That's him seriously doing a number to a, I believe a criminal. You can see a sort of misted area around here. I'm not sure whether that's necessarily a cloak sort of wearing off as he begins to appear in front of him. Like I said, the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell goggles. And then he also seems to be attacking with a baton. Whether this is some sort of special attack and we'll actually see this happening to our characters, I am not sure. Let's have a look at the middle picture we have here. Again, as soon as it loads. This is just a face-on picture of the cloaker. We see these little green dots. I'm not sure whether these are sort of reflections of the green goggles you see him wearing, but overall the cloaker looks pretty damn amazing. Top right hand photo, we are going to be looking at something. As soon as there we go. Yeah, this is the full party of cloakers. Like I say, I'm not sure how many are going to appear on screen at once. This seems a little more like concept art they're showing us. I imagine cloakers will be a little like juggernauts, but we'll see how much health they have. That's what's important. So, I believe this is the documentation we're seeing of authorization, use of special assets under extraordinary circumstances. So whether we're only going to see cloakers on overkill missions, I'm not sure. Effective as of February the 1st, 2014, until further notice. So, I'm not entirely sure whether these guys are just going to be patched into the game and you don't have to pay for them. If that's mentioned later down, we'll take a look. So, this is a general authorization for Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department permitting unrestricted use of special assets, personnel, and equipment in all and any situations pertaining to U.S. DOJ case number something. The identity of the special responders are protected under the law and may not be revealed. Obviously, we can't take their masks off. All special responders are authorized to return fire and meet any threat with deadly force should the situation present a clear and present danger to civilians and or officers on the scene. So this is legislation allowing the cloakers and sort of explaining why they haven't been here before. The police chief receives fresh funding for clandestine ops. There we go. Claims it's a top secret agent unit, as if this would all be in the paper. Jan Swanson, January 30th, Washington, D.C. These things are awesome, by the way. I love the way Overkill does them. The use of federal and local taxpayer dollars to ensure the safety of all citizens is a hotly debated issue, regardless of the electoral season. It is an especially inflamed debate as the metro area has been in a surge of organised crime in recent months. Reports of bank warriors, bank robberies, armoured transport hold-ups and old-fashioned jewellery heists, of course my speciality, are currently common sights in headlines and news reports, and according to authorities, the increase in high-profile criminality has roots in a new organised crime network. Well done, us. To combat this, recent claims by reliable sources make claims that local police authorities have received several major grants to ... Basically, say hello to the cloaker. Metro Area Police Chief yesterday stated the secret agents are real and that they will have a major impact on the crime rate. So they're reassuring the civilians, but I guess we have something to say about that, if what Gage just said is true anyway. So let's have a look at solution 1, possibly my favourite solution, the light machine guns. Okay, I may be a ghost, but who cares? I love big guns. Gage figures if you can't see the enemy until they are right on top of you, obviously they can't attack while cloaked, that is fair. These guys could be pretty scary enemies though. You gotta be able to shoot them a lot very quickly once you do spot them, and nothing else will fire more bullets in a shorter time than these babies, except for maybe SMGs. They also carry metric shit tons of ammo. Even if you can't see them coming, you can always afford to spray a bit extra lead into open vents and manholes for good measure. Now, whether this is where we're going to see the cloakers coming out of, I'm not sure. Whether they spawn with regular officers seems a little bit silly, because then we will know they're... Oh, sorry, I have viruses. Whether they're going to be spawning in regular places with the police is something that I'm not sure of. I doubt it. Like I say, it'll obviously give them away. So, better safe than sorry. Let's have a look at the first one, the KSP light machine gun. 5.56 times by 45mm grass operated open bolt with a 200 round linked belt in a box. 200 rounds! We even are going to be able to reload. So we got total ammo 400. That's what we sort of expect, pardon me, from this one. The KSP excels at short range combat. Probably looking like to be my favourite. Comes with an M4 stock adapter, so you've got some extra stock choices. Gun specific mods include a long barrel railed foregrip to reduce the recoil, I believe, and this solid stock. Looking at these stats, terribly powerful, high rate of fire, a lot of ammo. The stability, I imagine, won't be too high. Imagine they kick pretty damn seriously. Now, concealment also not what we're going to be expected, and as a stealther, these aren't necessarily going to work too well for me, but I'll be damned if I don't go for some allowed missions with these. Obviously that is from the USA. Now here we have the RPK light machine gun. This is the sort of medium-sized magazine. You might have seen the RPK in games like Call of Duty. 7.62 times by 39mm. Slightly less damage you'd expect, but no overall damage seems to be exactly the same. So the RPK is the same design layout as the AK, as many as you probably know. Obviously the AK isn't really a popular gun. I don't know actually, I've just never really used it within Payday 2. But a modified receiver and a chrome-lined heavier, longer barrel. Looks awesome, by the way. This is basically an assault rifle on steroids. My favourite. Very effective at medium range. Gun-specific mods include a composite stock and railed foregrip. So that actually unlocks immediately. So we can use that as soon as I get in the game. Obviously, this light machine gun we looked at first is at level 45. Again, total ammo slightly less overall and slightly smaller magazines sizes with a lower rate of fire, but we're looking at a more accurate, longer ranged gun. Next up we've got the Brenner 21. I've got to say all the German guns and items added are looking pretty amazing. It's again a 7.62 times by 51mm rolled delayed blowback belt fed from a 100 round box, the in-between one. Highly accurate with serious damage output even at long ranges. Looks awesome. This is the king of LMGs. Gun specific mods include an even longer barrel, a short tactical foregrip and an ergo grip, trying to reduce that recoil even further. That's unlocked at level 75, so that's actually the latest gun unlock in the game. The magazine, like I said, is the one in between, and the ammo is the same as the RPK. The rate of fire, also similar to the RPK, actually slightly slower, but it does the most damage and it doesn't kick too hard. So a very good marksman, basically a technician or possibly mastermind assault rifle. So a guide to the light machine guns, sort of what you'd expect. First thing you need to know is they are not just big assault rifles with huge mags. You can't just run around with this without people taking notice. Reloading takes a lot of time, and weight and bulkiness will slow you down by 20% when you have the gun equipped. So be aware that this definitely is more of an enforcer heavy armored class type thing, but I'm certainly going to give it a go. Generic modding is doable. All guns come with mods that tweak performance, but you're currently limited to barrel extensions, gadgets, lasers and lights, and stocks. Silencers are not an option, unsurprisingly really. I don't know whether you'd want to. And it's hinted at here, if you thought they were, you have failed to understand the point of these guns. I love them. Secondly, neither are optics or steel sighting. Why? Firing is very different, as you can't just learn to aim down sights. The massive recoil and barrel rise would completely destroy both your accuracy as well as your face and shoulder. For more info, have a look at the manual page Gage supplied. We'll click on that in a second. Thirdly, two of these guns, just like anything else Bane sells on crime.net, come with level locks. Basically, Bane doesn't want some noob to walk into a bank and start spraying, unsurprisingly. So what are the upsides of all these limitations? Well, massive amounts of ammo, extremely high sustained rate of fire, a huge damage per second output. Do the math and think about what this does to how you approach a firefight. When you need to fill the air with lead, this is the only way to go. So just looking at this little diagram of how we're using it, it looks like we might not get the same ability to aim when you're going to walk slower. That's what I'm seeing. Obviously the widened stance is going to allow less movement, and then I don't know, he's evidently supporting it a lot higher up, so I guess that's just explaining why you can't move around as quickly. Listen, you know what the problem is with the sneaky bastards? You don't know where they are. So how do we solve that? How about you don't alert the cops? That's how. And here is my favourite solution as a stealther. I know the big guns really appeal to my sense of justice, but I gotta say, these knives look amazing. How do we solve that? How about you don't alert the cops? That's how. I did say that already. If they don't know you're here, how can they come after you? So it does seem like cloakers aren't just going to be hanging around waiting for you. Here's a little something that will help you maintain stealth. It doesn't make any noise, it doesn't slow you down, it never jams, and if things end up plan B, you can use it to repeatedly stab a shield in the neck. Awesome. Which is a lot more satisfying than a double tap when a heist goes south. You know what Gage says? Guns for show, knives for a pro. So let's have a look at these knives. We've got the URSA knife, USMC engraved on the side here. Hard-wearing, indestructible, fighting, utility knife dating back to 1942. Bowie blade, serrated edge, no nonsense, a classic. So that's just your sort of classic stabby stab knife. Even these have different statistics. So the damage is reasonably low. The knockdown is certainly something I'd be interested in. I know I said something about using knockdown builds, but I definitely think these are going to make a more melee-centric build more useful. The range, I'm surprised they have different ranges. Maybe they're thinking of adding a katana, but is 150, which seems slightly standard. That one's slightly shorter and that one's slightly longer. And then the charge time is 2 seconds, so clearly it's not just a instant stab Call of Duty style, it actually takes a little bit of time to charge up your swing. Makes sense, really. That's an instant unlock, but for my favourite looking blade, we got the Krieger blade, of course. Like I said, the German things looking awesome, as usual. Standard knife for the German army, great grip, and the Tanto blade makes an excellent choice for combat. Sort of like a blocking knife. It's more of a secondary weapon if, I don't know, you're a Japanese samurai. But as you can see, it does slightly more damage. Its knockdown is higher. Its charge time is slightly longer, as you might expect with the extra damage and knockdown. And the range is exactly the same. Personally, I'd go with the Krieger out of the two. Next up, we have the Burger combat knife. Popular tactical knife with folding clip point blade, compact light, and high-tech materials make it fast and dangerous tool. So here's your fast stabbing weapon. 1.5 on the charge time. The range is actually a lot shorter at 125. Damage is actually really high, and the knockdown is higher still. Now, as an actual weapon, this one seems like it may be my favourite in the end. That's unlocked at level 41, but I just can't resist that sort of extra stabbing factor. But like I say, Krieger does still look better. And now here we have the big boy. We've got the Trautmann knife, a survival knife with a heavy Bowie blade. The length saw tooth spine and center tip works just as well in the wilderness as it does in close combat. More of a hunting knife we have here with 91 slicer on the side. Was that 16 slicer? No, with 91. It's unlocked at level 61, so the latest by 20 levels. The damage is, unsurprisingly, by the looks of it, highest. And knockdown is actually, surprising to me, slightly lower than Burger Combat Knife. Its charge time is, again, the longest by a whole 0.5 of a second, but the range makes up for that. So this big slow swinger, lots of damage, and reasonable range. So, the guide to the melee. So, unsurprisingly, we're getting E as the melee strike, but you have to hold it to charge it. With the addition of knives, the melee combat has been reworked to offer more rewarding tactical element. I love that. I think melee was a little too simple. Firstly, we've added the choice from a selection of blade weapons. Initially, you've got the knives above as well as your fists. If you insist, you can stick to the old rifle, but who knows what weapons we'll be adding in the future. Discuss. Secondly, we have added a charge feature to all new melee weapons. If you press and hold the melee button, you'll charge your melee strike for more damage and knockdown. So it does seem like you can sort of swing wildly, but it won't have the same effect so long as you hold the strongly attack. Great idea. This means that you can be a lot more effective if you have a few seconds to prepare. If you don't, you can just hammer the melee button as usual and land faster, lighter blows. Or you combine the two and a quick jab to knock the opponent off balance, then draw back for the finishing strike. That is the sort of thing that I wanted to hear. Thirdly, we've added visible stats to all the melee weapons. Here's how they work. As I said, range is obviously the distance with which it can hit. Charge time is the time for the full charge. Damage is simply damage, and that is the fully charged damage, I believe, in the brackets. And again, the knockdown. It's a lot greater if you charge it, it seems. It definitely seems like the charge time is going to be more useful if you have the time, right? If you don't need the damage immediately. So finally, do not worry if you're not comfortable with the new system. There's always the option to stick to the old melee attack, the basic non-charging butt stroke with your primary or secondary weapon. Don't think I'm going to be doing that somehow. Be aware you're not the only one who got some new moves. By the way, that is huge. It's great that they do that. It's great they give you the old option. Very few games do that. We also took the opportunity to teach your opponents a few things about close quarters combat. Unsurprisingly, if you get within striking distance of a law enforcement, he might just take a swing at you or even pull a knife. We hope you don't mind. Awesome. Of course, it wouldn't be a Gage pack unless he added some insane masks for you to conceal your identity with. I didn't even know where he got the inspiration from, but I'm guessing machine guns and supervillains. No idea. Let's find out. Should we talk about Rambo over here? The Troubled War Veteran, I mean, wow. The Troubled War Veteran is a mask that Gage has worked on for some time. Back in the Vietnam War, Gage met this big muscular guy who went nuts and started using a bow instead of modern weapons. He died pretty early in the war, but for some strange reason Gage couldn't forget his face. Great one. The Gage Blade. The Gage Blade is one of Gage's own personal favourite ballistic face masks. It will protect your face from 1 or 2 9mm bullets, as you can see here, before your head explodes. Without this mask, Gage wouldn't be the wonderful human being he is today. Evidently, he's taken a few shots. Now, I have to say this looks an awful lot like the Outlander, but who doesn't love the Outlander? I know it turned out to be one of my favourite, more humanoid-looking masks. Commander Crime has this awesome-looking feature going on down here. Let's talk about that. Commander Crime is an American fictional character, a supervillain, and the supreme leader of the criminal network Crime, who appears in the comic books by Overkill Comics. The character was created by now world-renowned writer, editor, artist, and professional badminton player Max Elmberg-Schonholm. I tried. I don't know what that little O is. I can't say that. Commander Crime has made his first appearance in the amazing career criminals. The Payday gang gets a crime offer they can't refuse. Alpha Force, we got a sort of standard-looking military gear helmet. The 4th Domestic Operation Group Force enforces Alpha. 4th Doggy A. I like that. They really love the Doge meme. But popularity ridiculed as Alpha Force. Popularly, I don't know why I said that so terribly. Ridiculed as Alpha Force is a US Army component of the Joint Common Operations Command. Their reputation is pretty poor, and they've become a less and less respected force to deal with. One of the members probably dropped this helmet when he fled from you. Great stuff, you stole it straight from the law enforcers. Patterns, here we've got sort of standard war paint, a little more camouflage. I've not necessarily been a huge fan of it in the past, but whatever we've got going here looks pretty damn cool. Now for the materials, again we've got camouflage in 3 of them. My personal preference might end up being this sort of shiny metallic pattern. I love shadows in the game. I think the masks do a very good job of them, so that is the material I would like to pick up first. Nearly done here. Up to the achievements. This would be an awful long video. I hope you guys don't mind. And finally, what would a DLC be without added achievements to unlock? Gage heard that you don't like the stat-based achievements and went out of his way to create 10 really, really hard achievements. Check them out below. So, well done community, because I didn't particularly like the stat-based achievements either. I mean, I'm sure some people did. I just don't think they necessarily fit into what the game was about. But they've done a much better job here. So Cloak and Dagger, simply kill a cloaker with a knife. I say simply, I have no idea how simple it is, but then again that picture is proving that the cloakers are going to fight with batons. They drew first blood? Not me. Kill 220 law enforcers in a single heist using any light machine gun. See, I was thinking 220, I thought they'd stop with these. No, nope, it's in a single heist. Oh my god. Awesome. Holy shit. You finally got what you were asking for. Here are the cloakers. I don't know whether this is just when you see your first cloaker, but yes, cloakers have been requested for a long time. In town, you're the law. Out here, it's me. Kill a jump-kicking cloaker using any shotgun. Sorry, that's enough. A jump-kicking cloaker. Done. Oh god, I popped up my Steam window there. I ain't got time to bleed. Take down 50 FBI SWAT and FBI heavy SWAT units with a knife while at 25% or less health in Overkill difficulty. Obviously I think Predator reference? I don't remember what it was in Alien, but pretty cool sounding achievement. The 8th and final rule. On the nightclub heist, kill 15 law enforcers using only your 5th. Obviously another Fight Club reference. What's the first rule of Fight Club? I like how we can just punch things now. It's brilliant. I feel like I'm playing Mercury out of Smite. Don't push it. Kill a charging cloaker using the Deagle pistol. I love the Deagle. Any excuse to take it out. And cloakers charge. Cloakers seem so cool. Dr. Miserable. On day 2 of the big oil job. Oh god. Complete the heist with the last engine being correct on the overkill difficulty. Could it get any harder? No. And bear in mind, LMGs might be necessary for this. Ammo is going to be scarce. Killing is as easy as breathing. Kill 10 law enforcers in a row using any light machine gun without releasing the trigger. Sounds pretty standard, to be honest. Are you killing me? Killing me? Are you kidding me? Kill a bulldozer in a knife fight. Whether that means you can only hit him with a knife or you can shoot him first and then knife him, I hope it means you guys just go knives at dawn. It's not pistols at dawn anymore. But let's have a look at the final word from Bane. With the arrival of the cloaker units, you're going to have to look at how to approach the heists. I've got one last thing that might be useful, and this is useful. We've recovered a tactical comms unit recently and found the frequency they're broadcasting on. It's encrypted, of course, but I've modified your radio equipment to pick up on the transmissions. Whenever a cloaker is nearby, you should hear a faint hissing whine over the radio. Oh my god, that's gonna be scary. I can only imagine what this would have been like if the Halloween had been coming up. If Halloween had been coming up, the Halloween update would have been even better. Use it to your advantage whenever you hear it. Keep your eyes peeled. Even if our eyes are peeled, they're goddamn invisible. Guys, Gage Weapon Pack 2 is so packed with content. You can tell this video is, I don't know, it might be 20 minutes long. I've been talking for ages. You try reading this out loud to yourself for 20 minutes. It's killing me, but I can't wait, guys. Can't wait to get some of the videos out there for you. This seems like a very big update, and certainly a DLC that I will be paying for. Just as a heads up, I will be doing a little bit of a giveaway at some point for these DLCs. It may be tomorrow, we'll see. As soon as possible, basically. But thanks a lot for watching, guys. I will see you all in the next one.